It's Platt, and today we get twisted. That's next to Platt's Beer of the Week. So the particular beer we have today is Shock Top Twisted Pretzel. Shock Top and their whole line of beers are produced by Anheuser-Busch, or ABInBev, out of St. Louis, Missouri. This beer was originally, or Shock Top was originally introduced as a seasonal line by Anheuser-Busch back in 2006. This beer was a Belgian white beer, Belgian wit beer that was supposed to be just kind of a one-off seasonal offering. There was really no plans after that. Oddly enough, the beer was originally not brewed in St. Louis, but in Fort Collins, Colorado, and it went by the name of Spring Heat Spiced Wheat. Oddly enough, though, the beer quickly caught traction. In 2006, it won gold at the North American Beer Awards, won a couple other awards, and again, gained enough traction that by 2007, it was reintroduced as Shock Top and became a full-time or year-round beer. Eventually, it ended up replacing a line of Michelob. I guess they were going to do a wheat beer or something like that, and replaced a Michelob line. That's probably about the time that Michelob fully went from the old Michelob to now the Mich Ultra based brand of beer. So kind of just the right beer at the right time, kind of fitting in the right slot for Anheuser-Busch. Oddly enough, this is kind of unique because in the past, if Anheuser-Busch kind of had a slot, like if a beer was coming trendy, hazy IPAs or this, that, and the other, they would buy a brewery that kind of specialized in that. They weren't trying to push, Budweiser, Hefeweizen, or Bud Light wheat or anything like that. But this is a brand they actually developed in-house and kind of took off. So it's kind of a unique story. Now, the way they went and fleshed out the rest of the product line was they basically Shock Top's going to make wheat beer, and we're just going to make it either a orange wheat or honey wheat or raspberry wheat, just generally fruit flavor, sometimes other flavored wheat beer, and that's kind of how they fleshed out the rest of the product line. Now, oddly enough, today, if you go look on their website, they have a separate Shock Top website. They only list two beers, the flagship beer, which is the original Belgian white or wit beer, and something called Zest, which is a low-cal, low-carb version, or wheat beer, fruited wheat beer, but that's it. Now, if you go on to some of these big online retailers now, they list a couple others. They'll list this Twisted Pretzel and also a Lemon Shandy. But now, I know personally, I guarantee you have too, we've seen a lot of these varieties of Shock Top because Shock Top being distributed by Anheuser-Busch, it's in all different locations, so you'll see them in all the liquor stores, grocery stores. You've seen the variety pack, so you know there are other beers. I did a little research on Untappd, the social media kind of craft beer platform where people put in reviews and check into beer bars and stuff. And they list 47 different varieties they've made over the years. So I don't know what's still in circulation and what's not. So it's a little vague there. Real quick, let's talk about some of those other beers. First, of course, is the original, the Belgian White. 5.2% ABV, only 10 IBUs. There's not a lot of hop aroma or bitterness in there. Just a classic, kind of straightforward wet beer. Next is that Lemon Shandy, 4.2% ABV, made with various citrus peels in there, but they also throw in a little coriander, which is different for a shandy. Next is a beer I hope they still make, or I hope they bring back again, because I'd like to try it. It sounds kind of unique. It's their Strawbanero Wheat, 5.5% ABV. It's a combination of strawberry and habanero. Now, you don't see a lot of strawberry beers, so that's already kind of interesting. And the beers that use like habaneros, poblanos, jalapenos, whatever, tend to be maltier beers that heat's balancing out the malt sweetness. But a wheat beer is not that. So this sounds, again, kind of interesting. And lastly is another beer that, again, I hope they make again if it's not still in circulation, is a honey bourbon cask wheat, 5.5% ABV. I know honey and wheat works together. I know honey and some of those barrel-aged notes work together. So it'd be interesting to see if all three work together. Sounds like a cool concept. I hope they bring it back or, again, flesh out this line a little bit more than they have. Well, with that being said, before we try this particular beer, though, let's check out the stats. So I have to admit, when I first saw this beer, and I kind of, realized what the concept was, I was very interested, and I've never, to be honest, had heard of a pretzel beer before. I thought, wow, that's kind of crazy. So that's why I picked it out. But then I thought, well, are there other people doing this? I did a little research, and there are some others out there, and like some kind of, for some goofy reason, kind of fascinated. First is a collaboration between Evil Genius Brewing and Auntie Anne's Pretzels. Auntie Anne's, for those that may not know, are the little pretzel, fresh pretzel places that you see in the mall or the airport, something like that. And they've collaborated on a beer where it's an Oktoberfest style beer with fresh Auntie Anne pretzels tossed into the mash bill or the brew kettle. The name of the beer is Butter a Carb? Apparently this is a line from a Lindsay Lohan movie, and just that little bit of quirkiness makes it even kind of a cooler concept. I don't know if they're implying there's a butter flavor to it or not. In my research, I didn't see that, but again, thought that was kind of funny. Next beer is O'Fallon's Naughty, K-N-O-T-T-I-Y, kind of like a pretzel, not naughty. There's no actual pretzels in this particular beer. What they do is, if you think about it, beer is kind of liquid bread, soft pretzels, very bready, doughy. So just the mash, just a typical beer mash, you're going to pick up those notes. And they throw in a little salt in the brew kettle to give that kind of salt, bready contrast that you get in a pretzel. Lastly is Captain Lawrence Brewing's collaboration with Snyder Pretzels. Snyder Pretzels are those hard pretzels, either the rods, the regular pretzels that you buy at the grocery store. Lord knows I've eaten my body weight in pretzel rods from them before. And this is similar to the beer with Auntie Anne's. However, it's a combination of a Marzen-style beer with, I believe they throw in their little mini pretzels into the brew kettle. Again, just a really kind of kooky, fun little idea, and I'm kind of interested to try, to see, try this beer, and also to see, if they do like O'Fallon's did and add a little bit of salt to get that salt bread contrast. So, that being said, let's try pretzel beer. All right, nice kind of darker amber, kind of a little copperish. Yeah, I must say that almost color-wise like an amber ale or like a slightly darker Boston lager. Wow, lot of bread. It's almost like I'm at a bakery. I get a little bit of the yeastiness too. Let's give her a try. All right, the pretzel bready thing is a little stronger on the nose than the taste, but it's there. It's present. Man, call me crazy, but I almost get a little bit of butteriness. It's not, sometimes you get a little butteriness, there's a viscousness on your palate or whatever. It's not that, there's just a slight hint. Maybe it's something I'm catching on the nose, but you know how sometimes that translates to your taste. Even though it looks a little darker, it's still a fairly light-bodied beer. You get just a hint of some of those darker malt notes, but this is really predominantly a bread, kind of a darker toasted bread notes, but not burnt. There's no burnt notes in it. It's just a nice, good toasted piece of bread. Notes to it, but pretty nice little drinker. Again, you'll probably get more pretzel on the nose than on the tongue, but not a bad little beer. That being said, I would have liked the pretzel concept fleshed out a little bit more because, again, I've never heard of this, but not a bad little beer. I would definitely have another one. Well, folks, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or beers that you'd like me to try, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Until next time, bottoms up.